Unconstitutional and discriminatory. That's how the Chicago Urban League describes the way Illinois funds education. And the organization has now filed a civil rights lawsuit against the state of Illinois and the Illinois Board of Education. The suit claims that using local property taxes to fund schools is a civil rights violation that leaves Illinois minority school districts underfunded. Here to give more details on the lawsuit is Chicago Urban League CEO Cheryle Jackson. Welcome back to Chicago Tonight.
Thank you.
First, let's break down the lawsuit a little bit. Tell me exactly what it is.
Well, we filed the lawsuit, civil rights lawsuit, because we believe and are confident that the current way the state funds schools is a simple and clear violation of the rights of minority children, particularly African Americans and Latino children. So we're seeking our redress in courts to remedy this situation as quickly as possible and make a very wrong policy right.
Now, the mayor has responded. He used to work for the governor. We haven't heard any response from him as of yet. Have you heard anything?
No.
No. Do you expect to hear anything from him? I know he's been under fire by Reverend Meeks, who wants to have this day off of school, have kids go and go ahead and go to New Trier or go to some other wealthier school districts. Any response to that at all?
To the governor?
Well, to Reverend Meeks and how he goes about doing this. Right. I mean, in terms of their efforts with, of course, he's with on the political side and the religious side as well.
Reverend Meeks has shown tremendous leadership on this issue and a lot of courage for a very long time. Its civil rights movement has a very long history and legacy of civic engagement and includes all forms: demonstration, negotiation, as Reverend Jackson says, and litigation, which is what the Chicago Urban League is focused on. But what I think Senator Meeks has been able to do is bring a level of focus and highlight to this issue and discussion that we haven't seen in a very long time, and for that, we're grateful. But the Chicago Urban League is focused on the litigation part of that. It has a role, it dates way back, and we're confident that and when we get our day in court, that will prevail.
So what kind of changes are you looking for specifically?
We want the system remedy fixed.
Are there things that you're looking, I mean, how do you think it may need to be changed? Maybe.
There are lots of ideas out there, Christian, and that, we are not wanting and lacking for good ideas. Now, you may debate some ideas are better than others. Senator Meeks has tossed out 3 or 4, 5 ideas. The governor has proposed an idea. So we've got lots of ideas. I think what's lacking is a political will to do something about this. This is a problem that's been languishing in our state for 30 years. And as the president of the Chicago Urban League, we launched our new focus on economic empowerment. We're focused on connecting people to jobs and internships and college. Our job is nearly impossible if the basics and the foundation isn't there in the school system. So it's a case of don't pass go, don't collect $200. It's difficult for us to do our job. So we're committed to that and committed to working with a lot of people who are absolutely passionate about this issue.
We're talking about a lot of underserved school districts here, many of them minority, Black, Hispanic. Mm-hmm. Is this issue about race, do you think?
Well, you have to look at the facts. I think when you look at the facts, the fact that the underfunded school districts are primarily majority minority, and there's such huge disparities in funding between these minority school districts and white school districts. Sometimes the funding gap is as large as, in some areas, $23,000 per child, per pupil, and in poor districts as little as $5,000. That's a huge gap. Chicago Reporter did a survey and that highlighted the fact that a child once gone through the system K through 8, the Chicago public school systems would have spent nearly $100,000 on their child. In Highland Park, it's over $225,000. So when you look at the disparities and you look at the racial makeup of the poor districts versus white districts, the facts will bear out that this is a clear case of discrimination.
We're running a little bit out of time. There have been two other lawsuits like this in the 90s. They weren't successful. Why do you think this one's going to be successful, or do you think it's going to be successful?
Yes, it will be successful. Those two cases were tossed out of court because it was decided that it was deemed that those two cases were better, dealt with by the legislature and not by the court. This case hinges on in part, the Illinois Civil Rights Act of 2003. So the Civil Rights Act came after those other two cases were brought to the courts. So we're confident that based on that, the Civil Rights Act, and also the courts are accustomed to addressing racial discrimination cases, 100 years of history of addressing these kinds of cases. So we're confident that our case will prevail.
Okay, well, we're out of time. Cheryle Jackson, thanks a lot for joining us.